Derrick Rose has gone through more ups and downs than most superstars ever have, let alone MVPs in their NBA career. And as the 2023-2024 season approaches, the question arises, should Derrick Rose retire from the NBA? Now before we go right into that answer, let's kind of go back through memory lane. What up everybody, it's your boy Sub up in here, born and raised in Chicago. So this video, as the first video of this channel, really comes close to the heart. Ask y'all if you can like this video, it means a lot. Subscribe if you're brand new to this channel, I'm sure many of you are. But let's get to this, man. Derrick Rose was drafted to the Chicago Bulls, my hometown. And obviously, it was between Derrick Rose and Michael Beasley, and the Bulls picked Derrick Rose, and I'm happy they did. They picked the hometown kid who literally changed the game of basketball in Chicago and literally was our next array of light since Michael Jordan in this city. Derrick Rose did many great things, playing literally 81 games his first season, which is amazing. He played all 81 games. You'd love to see it. Averaged 16.8 points as a rookie, which then of course transitioned to 20.8, and then yes, an MVP season with 25. One of the best things that people loved about Derrick Rose, myself included, is he actually questioned the media saying, why can't I win MVP? Why can't I do it? Right? Why can't I do it? There's LeBron, there's all these other players, but why not me? And he not only spoke and questioned that into existence, but he actually brought it to life, winning that MVP. And the coolest part is, till this day, he's the youngest MVP ever in NBA history. And if you're a Bulls fan, he's always our MVP, and he always will be our MVP. Unfortunately, what ended up happening, the next season or so, is Derrick Rose actually went down. And if you're a Bulls fan, you watched this season, you knew that this was the Bulls' year. A full healthy squad, you know what I'm trying to say, a really high level playing Joakim Noah and supporting cast. We were going to go far. But Derrick Rose, unfortunately, against the Philadelphia 76ers, tore that ACL, which shattered all our hearts. And it was one of the hardest things to ever see because literally, bro, win or lose, we would watch these Bulls games specifically for Derrick Rose, bro. He literally brought Chicago Bulls basketball back on the map, and that's why I said till today he's our MVP. But anyways, ended up getting this ACL injury, one of the hardest things to witness, but what was so cool was the comeback that he was pushing to make. Adidas got behind this and actually made a campaign called The Return. It was awesome to watch, not just as a Bulls fan, but an NBA fan, because in the first couple years of Derrick Rose's NBA career, he won the hearts of so many people, man, not just in Chicago, but globally. He ended up coming back, and unfortunately, which really is tough because I remember the day this happened, literally, he ended up tearing his meniscus shortly after he came back. He missed 82 games from the 2012-2013 season with a torn ACL, and then in November of 2013, he ended up tearing that meniscus, missing another 71 games. And it was so hard to see. And if this were to happen to most people, you would think that they're done. Their career is over. But that's what's special about Derrick Rose. Because even after tearing that meniscus and missing another 70 plus games, he actually was able to come back to the NBA. And he actually played in Chicago for a little bit. He averaged almost 18 points a game in 51 games in 2014 to 2015 in Chicago. And of course, 16.4 points a game the following season at age 27, playing 66 games, which is solid. Obviously, he didn't have that explosive athleticism that he once had, the ones that would literally shift defenders and slam it on people like Goran Dragic. And, Dragic played for the Bulls, so we love him, but man, that was a day, right? He didn't have that, so he had to kind of reinvent his game. But to still score 18 points in a game really shows the commitment that he had to his return and coming back. And mind you, he actually tore his meniscus again. Okay, so he literally tore his meniscus again. And man, so many injuries came his way. But I'm actually happy for Derrick Rose, and I wasn't at the time as a Bulls fan to see him leave the Chicago Bulls, right? Everything happens for a reason, and he ended up going to the New York Knicks. And this was very hard when he got traded, but he needed it. He needed a brand new home, and I'm so happy that Knicks fans embraced him, even till today where he's playing now. They all love him, right? And as a Bulls fan, it made me really happy that he had a place where people really embraced him. He averaged 18 points a game in his first season playing 64 games and starting all 64 of them with the New York Knicks. It was great to see, and if you look at those highlights till today, my man was doing it all, bro. He probably wasn't dunking like he used to during his MVP days, but he was flashy, he was swifty, and he was crossing ankles, and he was making the right plays, and he was doing everything, man. Mad respect. Unfortunately, what came to happen afterwards is Derrick Rose really went through a downhill battle. And as a D-Rose fan, as I mentioned, it was very hard to see him. You know what I'm saying? He ended up going to Cleveland. Just wasn't working out for him there. You know what I'm saying? He was going to be playing with LeBron James, etc. Thought that this was his chance. And he was pretty much looking like he was about to just be done with the NBA and retire at 29, which at that point could have literally still been a Hall of Fame career, depending on how you want to go about it. Only averaging 8 points a game, playing barely any, right, in Cleveland. Then going to Minnesota for the remainder of the season, playing 9 games, averaging 6 points in that season. But as we all know, something super exciting and historical happened with Derrick Rose. His next season with Minnesota, he actually had a 50-point game, a career high on October 31st, 2018. He was 30 years old or so at the time, and it was one of the most spectacular moments. He was crying. We've all seen it. If you haven't seen it, bro, what are you doing? Go watch it, man. It was just something sensational to see. And that, honestly, especially happening during the, an early part of the season, was what he needed to show that, yo, you still got it, dog. D-Rose, you still got it. And he got it, because he averaged 18 points a game that season. He averaged 18 points a game the following season. He went to Detroit. You know what I'm trying to say? And then, of course, another 14 points a game the following season at age 32. Another 14.2 points a game as he finished his career with Detroit, and then went to the New York Knicks just a couple years ago, averaging almost 15 points a game. So now we flash forward to last year. Derrick Rose is back to the New York Knicks. They love him. They embraced him. He got Coach Tibbs with him. And he actually averaged 12 points a game, which is pretty solid, right? He only played 26 games. He only started 4 of them. Tibbs really didn't play him that much, but when he did get some playing time, he obviously performed 12 points a game. And if you look at the season prior in the playoffs, Derrick Rose was the only one showing up, more than Julius Randle and company. If you're a real D-Rose fan, you know that he was actually one of the best players in the playoffs that season. Anyways, 12 points a game, only played 26 games last season, but unfortunately, we look at this past season and Derrick Rose barely suited up, man. He was healthy. He was ready to play. He really wasn't on the injury report for the whole season. But he only played 27 games and he only got 12 minutes a game this past season at age 34 and only averaged 5.6 points a game. And to be completely honest with you, when you would look at the Knicks blowout games, you would literally see the whole entire crowd at the Mecca just chanting Derrick Rose. They wanted to see him play, and when he would play, he would score at times, but the fans loved him. And if you ask me, my man D-Rose still has some game. He still has something left in the tank. He just hasn't been given that opportunity. The New York Knicks clearly want to go in a different direction, as they should. They got Jalen Brunson, they got RJ Barrett, they got a great squad. And I don't think Tibbs, being the coach he is going to give Derrick Rose any time. If he didn't do it last season, why would he do it again? In my honest opinion, not only as a Derrick Rose fan, as a straight up fan of the game, I think that Derrick Rose still has more in his tank, and I don't think he should retire. Yet, I think he should go to a team that's gonna, embrace him as a veteran and give him those minutes that he deserves. Because D-Rose is not done. He still has it in the tank. He literally still gets voted as a top all-star candidate every year, even though he doesn't get to play, because of who he is, what he's done, and what he's still capable of doing. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you think Derrick Rose should retire, or maybe he still has it more in the tank and he can really, really still help some teams out. Let me know.